Hi everybody, it's Joe from joelevi.com, and you can probably tell I've been working in the garden today. You can't say you've had a good day in the garden until your hands are really dirty. What I'd like to do is show you today how to plant a tomato plant. This is a Roma, which is one of my favorite varieties. They're nice, they're thick, they're good for eating just like apples. A little bit of salt and they taste wonderful. But there are some things to keep in mind when planting these. So first and foremost, this is in a nice peat pot, and it's got this plastic ring on it. We want to take this off, but kind of save it for later just in case, and also take out your little plant name tag thing. They probably have a name. I don't know what it is. Next, what we're going to do before we take it out of this pot, and yes, I know you can plant it pot and all, I just don't like to. You can save the pots and use them later, but by putting it right down in the soil, it helps them be able to start growing a bit faster. A lot of people would just drop this in, plant it right up to there, and be done with it. But I'm going to show you the right way to do it, or the way my dad taught me, and he's always had really good tomatoes. What we do is come in here and we are going to pinch off all of these branches. Now you might be thinking I'm crazy here, because you just went and you bought the biggest tomato plant that you could find, and here you are tearing off all of the branches. Now why would somebody do this? I'm gonna have my cameraman come right up here, take a look. Okay, I've left the top little bit of foliage on here, but if we look right here, you see all these little teeny tiny spines. All those little spines have the potential to turn into a root, and you can see that they are all there, all along that stem. So what we want to do is plant this thing right up to here in the soil. But here's a trick. This is going to make every single penny that you paid for this video worthwhile. And right now you can see I'm not going to be able to reuse this pot, but I'm going to go ahead and take it out of it anyway. Because even though they're not supposed to, even though the roots are supposed to grow right through this pot, you'll notice that this plant is a little bit root bound. So by taking that pot off, I can see that, and I can just kind of tease these roots out, so that they're not going to be as bound into that potting material. I'm just going to scratch at the sides a little bit, do the same thing. Okay, now here is where tomatoes are different from almost every other plant out there. Most plants you want to plant them up to right here, but because all these can become roots, what we're going to do is we're going to plant this whole thing in the ground. Now, a lot of people would think you have to build or dig a really deep hole to put this down inside. It has to be about, oh, yay deep, right? What we're going to do is a little trick. We're going to take this, we're going to lay it down on its side in this little trench that I've dug. We're going to let those roots just go out long, and we're going to ignore the top of it for right now. We're going to come in here and tear up our pot. Go ahead and put that down in there because it's good plant material. And then we're just going to fill this back in with our nice garden soil. Make sure that we get it all covered up real nice. And when we come up here to the top, you want to be very careful and just lift this guy so that he's pointing up towards the sky again, and bury right in around him, nice and firm over there on that side. And you'll notice he's still going to lean a little bit, but that's okay. What we've done now is we have extended that root system from here all the way down here. So all this is going to be root, all this is going to be getting nutrients and moisture and feeding this tomato, where normally we would have just had what's in the pot. So there we go, it's all planted. The last thing that we need is one of these. This is a tomato cage, and I just center that right over it and drop it down in the ground, being careful not to squish it like I'm doing right now. And this is not a very large cage, but it's my second year using them. They do pretty well. What happens here is the tomato will go all kinds of crazy, and you just have to kind of tease it in and out of these metal supports, and this tomato will grow up and it will fill this entire cage and be supported by this nice sturdy metal cage. So doesn't look like much right now, but that tomato is going to grow up and be nice and big and have lots and lots of little tomatoes on it throughout the season. So we're going to go ahead and repeat this process for a bunch more tomatoes here, but now you know my secrets on how to grow a good tomato plant. So for planting tomatoes, I'm Joe from joelevi.com.